Macros, Mindset, and Muscles.
I'm Coach James.
And I'm Coach Brittany.
We're here to give you the truth about health and fitness.
No gimmicks, no bullshit, just facts. Good morning, Phoenix fam.
Welcome to the Phoenix Transformations podcast.
Macros, Mindset, and Muscles.
Muscles. Flex your muscles.
All right, so we apologize that this episode was not released on time. We had some personal stuff come up. Really, I have a friend that was diagnosed with cancer, and I went to see her this weekend on the day that we would normally podcast. So I prioritized that over podcasting. Anyways, we're here now. We have an awesome topic planned for you today, which every topic is always an awesome topic.
I mean, we enjoy doing this podcast, but this is, we do this as something extra. And when it comes down to it, we're going to prioritize family and friends. If they need us, they need us.
Yeah. So here we are. We are talking about hunger and weight loss today. Why am I so hungry when I try to lose weight?
That's my question.
That's my question.
That's my question.
I think this is a big problem when it comes to fat loss. A lot of people, and especially like our clients, run into. And we're going to kind of dive into why that is. Are you here?
Yes, I was listening. I was like, all right, we're diving in.
You look a little dazed out right now.
It's a little cloudy outside, All
right, well, I'm
going to perk up.
If you perk up and you get through this episode with me, you can take a nap today.
I'll take a nap if I want to take a nap, bro. I'm a grown-ass man. I'll do what I want. You know what I'll do? I'll just go to the grocery store and sleep in the parking lot.
Okay. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah, she'll be rolling up. She got me on GPS anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hunger and losing weight. I'm into it. Let's do it.
All right. So why do we get hungry when we go into a calorie deficit, when we try losing weight? We increase our activity. We decrease our food. Well, that's because you're eating less food. Your body... When you eat less food, when you're in a calorie deficit trying to lose fat, that's not something that your body really wants. Okay. Your body stores fat for times of famine. And when you go into a calorie deficit, your body starts thinking like, oh my gosh, there's a shortage of food.
What if there's a famine?
And your hormones, leptin and ghrelin, those things like the ones that like make you feel full. I can't remember if it's leptin or ghrelin.
We don't have
Anyways.
Hormones.
Those hormones.
Hormones.
I should have wrote that down. But those hormones that make you feel full and that, tell you you're hungry, they get skewed a little bit.
I think it's ghrelin. I think ghrelin's the hunger one. Because I always try to imagine like ghrelin's like your stomach's grilling at you, But I totally may have just totally made that shit up just right then. Hormones.
Yeah. Anyways.
Hunger hormones.
Your body, it's a natural reaction for your body to be like, hey, we're hungry. Feed us, feed us, feed us. And that's why you get more cravings. And, you feel like you need to eat more because that's your body's natural reaction to a shortage in energy, right. AKA calories.
Before this, anytime you felt hungry, you just ate whatever you felt like eating and blindly. And so you're doing something different.
Your body was used to getting enough calories and now it's not. So it's a totally normal reaction. But this does make it hard if you're losing or trying to lose fat. You're always hungry, How can we combat that?
There's a lot of things we can do to combat that, Brittany. I'm really interested in what your thoughts are on the subject.
I can't with you today.
Increase your protein.
Yeah. So when it comes to your food choices, the problem when it comes to fat loss is a lot of people eat a lot of processed foods. Processed foods aren't, inherently bad, but they're not as filling. They won't make you as full. They have a lot of calories for very little
volume.
Yeah, volume. So when you eat, I'm going to say this word with quotes around it. You can't see the quotes, but they're there.
I saw them.
Cleaner.
Yeah, I saw the quotes.
So, more wholesome foods, more nutrient dense foods, fruits, veggies. You got like your carbs, like sweet potatoes and old fashioned oats, things like that, that, they just make you full. You need to switch from eating more processed foods if you're struggling with hunger.
Yeah.
If you're not, then fine, as long as you're not having gut health issues or whatever, like eat what you want. But know that your nutrient quality does matter for gut health and
It's going to come down to,
longevity.
it's going to come down to food choices. Like, I'm sure everybody can relate to this. You've gone and had Chinese food and you've eaten, and less than an hour or so later, you're hungry again. It's because like that rice processes so quickly, you're no longer full, you're no longer satiated. So like maybe instead of having like a rice, a simple that breaks down that quick in your meal, having something like a potato where you get more volume.
Well,
It's
you
more.
want like complex carbs.
Well,
So
that's what I was getting into. I just didn't say the word complex.
yeah, but a regular potato is a simple carb. A sweet potato would be a good complex carb. Brown rice versus white rice, things like that.
But that's why I said potato, because you get more volume with a potato per carb versus rice. So you're going to be more filling off of a potato than you would be off the same amount of carbs as rice.
I think it depends on the person.
I think it depends on, no. I think I'm right on this because I eat rice and I eat potatoes all the time.
Well, maybe you're just used to eating rice all the time, and maybe you feel more full with the potato because there's more fiber and nutrients. It's not like a slower digesting carb necessarily.
It would just kill you that I'm right for once. You know what? I'm wrong, but listen, y'all should listen to me. But I'm wrong. I'm wrong. But don't listen. You should.
No, but you definitely want to eat more filling foods. You want to throw in more veggies. When your calories get lower, you have to think about sacrifice, like what you're sacrificing. If you're on a strict calorie deficit, and this happens a lot in prep too, if you're a macro based, prep athlete and you follow, macros until the last few weeks or whatever, if pick something that tastes good and maybe it has more fat, then you might be suffering the rest of the day because you gave up a big portion of your fat for something that wasn't very like filling or, satisfying in the sense that like you're full.
Yeah.
It might have like satisfied a craving or an urge, which is not a bad thing. But
It didn't satisfy your belly.
it didn't satisfy your belly. So then you're going through the rest of the day and you're like,
That wasn't worth it.
yeah, fuck, I have 5 grams of fat left for my last meal of the day. I'm starving, like, what do I do? And that's when people usually end up overeating and just saying, fuck it.
Yeah.
So, making those switches to more like volume-based foods, if you're in lower carbs, like maybe instead of having rice, you have your meal over a salad or something. Like
Yeah,
I do that a lot.
So you get more volume because you're using veggies versus
Mhm.
rice.
So you have like a big salad. I think any meal that we make, I can make a delicious salad out of. Like if we do like burgers, like I'll do like a burger salad, like a Big Mac salad with, lower calorie Thousand Island
Yeah.
dressing, or like taco salads. I will tear up some taco salads.
And see me, I like to throw in a salad just because it's a change of texture. It's like, all right, not so much rice. I can just have like some veggies and some potatoes over here and stuff like that. Get a little crunch to it.
But the main thing is like when you're cutting and you're quote unquote bulking, like your food choices should stay relatively the same. So even when you're bulking, like you should be eating these types of foods. You just make slight substitutions and changes, Like I'm saying, like when your carbs get lower, like in a cut, you have to make those sacrifices. And maybe instead of having, 200 grams of rice, you have, I'm giving your numbers because I'm not going to eat 200 grams of rice.
Tell my secrets right now.
But
Yeah.
if, instead of doing that, you might do like 100 grams of rice and you might do like, 100 grams of green beans or something. Like you might increase the veggie and decrease the carb just to satisfy that full feeling.
Right. Well, like also like if somebody's been doing grits in the morning, and as volume of food starts dropping, they switch that to oats, like oatmeal, because takes longer to break down. So
Yeah, with the fiber.
yeah, if you can tolerate oatmeal, then I would switch that. But
It definitely sits
it
heavier.
sits heavier. That's why I don't do it now. Like I would like to keep my volume a little higher.
Like I can do cream of rice and I can do oatmeal. Like one pack of oatmeal and I will be like
When
for
I
like a few hours. Whereas cream of rice, like I might be hungry again in an hour and a half.
when I was doing 1 cup of just regular oatmeal, like just dry
That's so much oatmeal.
oatmeal with peanut butter in it.
Oh my
Also,
gosh, that's so much.
oh my gosh, like it was, oh, it was so heavy. It was so heavy. Like my gut did not like it at all, so I had to change that up.
So one of my favorite things to do with oats, like when calories get low, this is my tip for my ladies out there because women typically get lower on carbs than men in a regular cut. Prep is a different story. But with oatmeal, I like to put in like canned pumpkin for volume. And then like I'll cook it, I'll mix the pumpkin in with it, I'll put water or whatever I'm gonna use for my liquid, mix it in with some cinnamon and like nutmeg, and it just gives you more volume with your oatmeal. So I have Bessie doing that right now.
Like it sounds really good, but like I'm so basic at the core. I'm just like, you got to add something to it. And like, would you sprinkle on it cinnamon?
Yeah,
Like
but then if
I know,
I do it to you, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this was the best thing ever."
I know,
And then you expect me to make it for you every
but
time.
which takes me back to me being so basic and like not going to go through those steps. It's just like, all right, I'm just going to keep it clean, keep it basic, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. For me to be able to repeat it, like it has to be very simple and just basic. Like all these fancy meal preps and these other meals, like they're great. Um, just being honest, I'm not going to go through that much effort every day. I'm just not. It's all going to come out the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
we're not going to talk about all that, but
So, making sure your body you get more micronutrients, those good stuff, fiber, helps your stomach, like, coat your stomach, makes you
how
feel
much fiber
fuller.
would you recommend?
Well, there's varying like recommendations out there for people, but the general rule is like women between 25 and 30 grams a day, and men would be like 30 to 40-ish a day. I know you're looking at me crazy. And then there's other recommendations where
It's like,
people say
like
15
12 to 15 per
per
thousand.
1,000 calories.
I'm gonna stick with that one. The
Okay.
first one was terrible.
How is it terrible? How many calories do you take in right now?
A lot.
Think about it. And if it's 15 calories per 1,000, how many grams should you be eating a day?
Yeah, but I'm gonna go on the low end. I'm gonna go with 12.
No, if you go on your calories, you're going to be eating like 45 grams of fiber a
But
day.
then there's also should be a cutoff. So like over anything over like 24, depend on the person. Anyway, just get. You know what? Just if you need a coach, we'll figure this stuff out for you, and then I can fight with my wife about it on your behalf.
Yeah. Well, what he means is he's going to be like, oh, hey, I have so and so right here, and this is what I have their macros at right now. What are your opinions on this?
And you know what she's gonna say? Give them more fiber, and I'm gonna be like, nah, nah, we don't like fiber that much over here. We're trying to make gains, not anyway.
Another reason why you're hungry is because you're not drinking enough. A lot of people, there's this thing, it's like, oh, maybe you're not hungry, you're thirsty. It's true to an extent. Um, you just have to you have to know that you're taking in enough fluids a day. And what is the recommended like appropriate amount of fluids?
Um, half your weight in ounces of water.
Yeah. You looked at me like I put you like on
Well, it's
a
like,
test.
yeah, it's like the teacher just called on you, like James, come to the front, please. Can you do this problem on the board? Like, bro.
So yeah, you should be drinking half your body weight in ounces of fluid a day. Like that's the
Minimal.
recommended, amount. Um, you can add electrolytes and stuff like that, but if you're salting your food and you're eating a variety of nutrients, you don't necessarily need extra electrolytes unless you're like an endurance athlete, very active, working outside in the heat, physical labor type job.
Somebody's in like an extreme cut, like it can be. Anyway, yes. What are you doing? You dog staring me, bro.
Why? Why can't you just look me in the eyes?
I just don't want to these days.
I'm done with
You're
you.
always about to hit me with your shoe or something.
Yeah, we throw chanclas around here.
I don't throw anything.
Okay, I
I
do.
get hit.
Even Kai runs from the shoe.
Gee, you would have been that teacher that has that ruler that just smacks the shit out of the kid's hand.
No, I'd smack it on the desk just to scare the crap out of
You
him.
would definitely hit him on the body part.
That is mean. I would never do that.
All right,
So
so
make sure you're drinking enough fluids on top of that. And practice good eating habits. It takes your body and your brain, like your stomach and your brain, time to communicate. So if you eat really fast, you're more likely to overeat and your digestion just won't be as great because your brain doesn't get those signals. So when you eat slower, chew your food, set your fork down between bites. That's something I've been doing lately. You probably haven't even noticed.
no, I'm busy eating.
Yeah, I know you're like,
I'm not setting it down for shit.
we were eating sandwiches the other day and I took a bite and I set mine down and I watched you and you just took a bite and then you chew like 4 times and then you take another bite. And I was like, I wonder if he's going to set his sandwich down.
Why would I set it down? I'm eating.
I know, but we're practicing good eating habits
But
here.
we got but we're on two different paths at that moment. You're trying to get full quicker. I'm trying to get more food in before I feel full. You see what I'm saying here? Like, did you also notice I wasn't drinking much fluid at the time? Like, I'll get in at the end of it.
Anyways, set your fork down between bites. Chew your food, 10 times at a minimum. Like, think about how much you chew your food. I guarantee you it's like 3 to 5 times.
Do you know how many times my first coach told me to chew before I swallowed? It was like 26 times before I swallowed each time.
Yeah, that's because like your saliva and it's a communication for digestion.
Do you know what that food tastes like or like feels like in your mouth after you chewed it 26 times?
Well, that's what I'm saying. At least 10 times.
Your jaw is like all. Your jaw's got a pump. It's got a little vein coming out. It's like, whoa.
You can see it because you're all Skeletor.
Yeah. TMJ going on. Jeez.
Anyways, stop going off on the tangents.
Oh.
Focus. Chew your food thoroughly. Maybe not 26 times, but 10 to 15 should do the trick. Set your fork down between bites. Don't pick it up until everything is completely chewed and you're ready to take your next bite. What the fuck is so funny?
I was just sitting here remembering like when we were eating the sandwiches. And I do remember you set your sandwich down. You know what I thought?
What?
It's like, oh, I hope she's getting full so I can eat the rest of her sandwich. I got so excited and you picked it back up. I was like, aw.
You're so funny. Yeah, half the time I'll be like, hey, do you want the rest of this? And you're like, no, I'm good.
I do that because I want you to eat. Like, I feel like I don't want to look like a fat ass. It's just be like, I'll eat all my food and I'll eat all your food. Anyway, I'm sorry, y'all.
Good eating habits. All right. Let's talk about some more eating habits, right? When you set up your plate, and you're trying to lose body fat, half your plate should be veggies. About like a third of your plate should be protein. And then the rest should be your carbs, your starches stuff. So when you're eating to help with the fullness, you can eat your veggies first. And that'll help, get that fiber in, those micronutrients. Then you're eating that stuff. Then you eat protein and you save your carbs and your starches for last. That also will help like the blood sugar spike too.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was watching a thing about that earlier. Just talking about like the fiber and everything from the veggies going in first, and then it's good stuff.
Yeah, and you want to get your veggies in. You want to get your protein in. Like protein is non-negotiable. Your protein should be higher when you're in a cut than when you're not, because you're more prone to losing lean muscle mass. So you want a higher amount of protein to help preserve that. You want to preserve muscle mass when you're trying to lose fat. It is important for long-term health.
Yeah.
So let's not, get so obsessed with the scale that we don't care what we're losing.
I think too, like when people start, they get into this, like get into a calorie deficit. This may be the first time they've ever been in a calorie deficit, willingly, and they've trained before this. They've been just eating whatever they want, however much they want, and that could be very large volumes of food. Well, your stomach will adapt to these very large volumes of food and kind of stretch out. Like anybody that's done any kind of, if you ever watch those competitive eaters and things like that, like they train to do these things. To eat. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so your stomach is expanded to a certain size, and now you're controlling what you put into your body and know exactly what it is, but your stomach has expanded. It's going to take a minute for it to adapt and to come back to its normal size. And so, yeah, you're going to feel hunger if your stomach is, anyway.
It's a good point though. I mean, you're right.
Thank you.
I was gonna say you're not gonna say
Did y'all hear
anything.
that? I thought my damn headphones went out or something. I thought I had a stroke or something. I thought Jesus coming back.
So, listen to your body's cues, pay attention to when your body's telling you it's hungry, when it's full. This is why intuitive eating is not a good tool for fat loss. I'm not going to go off on this tangent, but, you have to learn like this intuition, like instead of just eating all the time because you're bored or whatever, like you have to actually be able to tune into your body's cues. Um, you know, don't eat out of boredom. That's another thing too. If you find yourself sitting around, you're like, oh, I'm hungry. Like, are you really like question yourself? Like it's okay to be logical and be like, okay, when was my last meal? What have I eaten? What are my meals like for the rest of the day? Am I really hungry? Am I bored? Am I thirsty? Like what's going on? Those are all like big things too. Another thing that contributes to hunger is poor sleep. When you sleep like shit, you tend to have like higher cravings, your hunger, like
When you're
it's your
stressed,
body,
yeah.
yeah, it's your body's coping mechanism.
Yeah.
So, make sure you're getting good quality sleep, especially when you're trying to lose fat. It's important. It's not even negotiable. Like it's a non-negotiable thing. It's a basic habit.
Yeah.
Sleeping, moving more.
I know with me, like having a good routine, like establishing a good routine, that even when I was cutting and got into, deep into the cut, because I had this routine, I knew I wasn't very far from my next meal. So like I would eat it at breakfast, 5:45 to 6. Then I knew I was going to eat again at 8 to 8:15. If I got hungry, I was like, I have a meal that, to,
Yeah.
I wouldn't get overly full, but like I was not starving. Shortly after that, and then next one's at 12, or like a snack at 10:30.
Yeah. Having
Meal
a
at 12:30.
like time feeding, like time
Right,
to
like
eat
so.
does help with that because you're like, okay, I just ate at 8 o'clock. My next meal is at 11, and you get hungry at 9:30. Like logically, you can be like, okay, I'm obviously not starving. Like I just ate an hour and a half ago. I'll be fine for another hour and a half.
Yeah.
Let me go do this real quick. Distract yourself. Take your mind off of it.
Increase your water.
Drink some water. Go for a walk. If you're working at a desk, like get up and walk around the office. If you're at home, knock one of them things off your to-do list and then revisit it.
I'm a big believer in like having like a routine, and it does make it easier to be consistent, and then you start seeing patterns and times. Like you if you set up a little routine, then you start noticing, hey, I get more hungry around this time. Then maybe you can play with your macros a little bit on changing up what that meal is before then, and maybe satiate you and so a little bit longer. Or you can schedule you a snack and you'll be prepared for that instead of like just randomly like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm gonna run to the gas station and get this, refried bean burrito.
Whatever. Gas station.
Sure, maybe. I don't know.
Bag of chips.
Yeah.
A little Debbie.
Yeah. Those things just
And those, like, while we're talking about that, those type of snacks and stuff, like, those are the ones that are like good for your good for your spirit. Like if you have a craving every now and then, like honor it and eat it. But your diet shouldn't consist mostly of this stuff because it's not very nutritious. It's not very, filling. I'm not saying don't eat them, like that, don't take that is what I'm saying. I'm just saying that most of your diet should be comprised of nutrient dense foods and the traits are
yeah.
sparingly.
Well, and like on this last little topic of are you bored? And I heard someone say one time, it's like, are you hungry or are you bored? And the way to do that is like, would you eat just a plain piece of chicken right now? Or, in your head, no, I really would want pizza or I want chips and salsa or chips and queso, whatever. If you could like legitimately like have one of your meals that that you would normally be eating and not just some craving thing, then that might be hunger. But if it's more on the snack side of stuff, or those like I was saying, like pizza or queso, those like snacky, just kind of
Yeah, the
feel good food,
high fat,
the
high
high fat,
salt,
the
like
hits
high
on all the
carb. Yeah,
triggers, like then maybe you're not. It's not really like what you're thinking.
yeah. It's probably boredom or like cravings, which you should honor your cravings to a degree. But something I like to do, like in a cut too, is I like to keep more fruits and veggies on hand. And if I'm snacky, like if I'm in a snacky mood, okay, if I'm like, okay, you know what, I want Cheez Its, right?
Yeah,
Because we have Cheez Its, we always have Cheez Its, it's Ryder's
delicious.
favorite snack. They are delicious. But also, one little bag of Cheez Its is 11 grams of fat. And for me, like, that's a lot of fat.
It's
I don't want
stuff.
to give up, you know, a fifth of my fat for the day for one tiny, unsatisfying bag of Cheez
I
Its.
know that little bag has more fat than my entire breakfast.
Yeah,
My entire breakfast, and that's a lot of food.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, do I really like when I'm about to start my period? I'm going to go for the fucking Cheez Its every time.
Yeah, when she's about to start her period, that's what I do too.
but
Like, fuck it, I'm eating
like most
Jesus.
other times, if I feel snackish and I want something like in between a meal or whatever, I'm like, okay, how about like, am I hungry or am I not? And then I'm like, okay, will I eat like a nectarine right now or like carrots and
Yeah,
like Bull House Farms ranch or whatever. Like I do keep carrots in the fridge. I love nectarines. So sometimes, okay, I'm gonna have that. And if I really do want it, then that's fine. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, don't eat that fruit, don't eat vegetables. Like
yeah.
I feel like you can always add more of those things to your diet and it be beneficial, even if it does put you over your calories a little bit, because there's a lot of micronutrients and stuff in there too.
And you do a really good job of like minimizing damage whenever you're having like a craving or something. Instead of like you said, you shouldn't just do away with all these foods and things like that. But like say it is close to your period and you are having these certain cravings and stuff, you will like find some kind of alternative that similar, or you'll have that thing, but you'll limit yourself to only a certain amount, so much of that thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is
Instead of
like
just being like, fuck it, I'm gonna eat a whole goddamn cake.
no, what most people do is they'll be like, okay, I really want a bowl of cereal, but you know what? I'm going to eat this protein bar instead, or I'm going to eat this instead. And then they end up eating all those things. And then they end up having a bowl of cereal anyways, where if they would have just had a small bowl of cereal to start with, they would have minimized, the damage of that because they would have satisfied the craving.
Well, and then I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like so maybe there are maybe there are that some women, the week leading up to their period, it's like, oh well, my period's coming, and they go a little crazy with it, and then their period's here, and they're like, well, then now they're justifying like continue doing these things. They're like, well, I'm on my period. This is because I'm on my period, and now you've had 2 weeks of um excessive. I don't want to say anything that's negative because it's
Well,
a legitimate hormone response.
it is a hormonal response to have increased hunger and cravings leading up to your period, like you actually burn a little bit more calories
Yeah,
leading up to
you
that
need
too
more.
because of the changes in your body. So those cravings, they are like a normal part of periods, and most women in our experience do like have those symptoms, but you have to be able to recognize those symptoms too, which will require you to track your period. And as a woman, like you should be tracking your period. Like you should make note of symptoms. You should make note of the length of cycles, trends, because this helps you long term in your journey and even in health. Like if you're approaching perimenopausal years and you don't track your period and you don't even realize it's been 3 months since you had a period, like that's a problem.
Yeah. I was just saying that maybe there are some that, it will almost use it as an excuse to kind of just say F it for a period of time and let that be justify their actions and how easily that could happen, because I mean, like you are having hormonal response and things going on. Anyway, I don't know why I'm going down that. I'm gonna get out of here before I already feel like I'm like way deep in the hole and like
Well,
there's some haters
you can
like
hear it now. Like James, you don't even have a period,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
No,
You don't have a vajayjay and like you're
I
right,
get,
but
I get what you're saying, but like everybody's response is different. Like,
that's why I said like some
yeah,
there may be
it.
like in certain cases like it gets out of hand because it's like a justification of like
I wouldn't
or
say it's a
bad
justification. I
choices.
would say it's a fuck it mode. Like I already fucked
They,
up last
exactly,
week
that's what I meant.
and like okay, what's one more week? Like I'm on my period anyways, like I'll just start fresh after my period. So it's more like a just a fuck it mode.
Right, but if you do that, if there's 4 weeks in a month and you
You do
spent
that
you did that for
yeah,
two
2 weeks out of the
weeks,
month.
then what? You're gonna try to get back on track, and how great are you gonna do if you already come back off of 2 weeks of being fuck it? How great is that you're gonna do that first week back? And then now it's the second week. Now here we are again.
And the
It's
thing
that
is
month
too
again.
is like for women in particular, we've gone into this rabbit hole of period talk, but for women in particular, we're actually in a best place for fat loss from the day that we start our period until ovulation. Like those are the first 14-ish days, depending on the woman, but the average is 14 days. The first 14 days of your period is the best time for fat loss. Your hormones are optimal. You feel better, you're more energized. Once you shift into that luteal phase, the hormones start shifting. You start, you know, holding a little bit more water, feeling a little bit more bloated. Then you start dealing with those cravings in the late luteal phase. So the follicular phase, that first 14-ish days, like that's where it's at. And you want to kind of like, you want to take advantage of that window, that prime window that you have for 2 weeks out of the month, and then minimize the damage on the back end.
Right. Yeah. And like you were saying, like tracking your period and being self aware of like these certain things and seeing the patterns and you were very aware of like, hey, this is happening. I think this is about to happen because I'm feeling this. And you start minimizing start making choices based on that. Anyway, this is
I know it's turned into a period talk episode. Sorry, guys, if you're listening, but hey, now you're more educated on how your wives' periods are and that it is a legitimate thing that they're dealing with. And if
teenagers
you're
too.
an empath like my husband, then you probably might feel the side effects of some of these symptoms or even experience them
Yeah.
yourself, like period, like sympathy pregnancies. Like there's sympathy periods too.
Yeah, but people who are in close contact on a lot of times like start feeling pains and not just through period, but like I mean you are in sync with this person with everything in your life. So thank you for coming to my period talk. We'll start menstrual cycle 1, episode 2. Good God, why did I even let it go down there?
Yeah,
I should have. Whoa! I should have took a left.
So periods all impact that too, is what we're getting at. Um, Hunger is a normal part of fat loss. To summarize all of this, you have to be proactive. You got to listen to your body. You got to make sure you're giving your body the nutrients that it needs. Nutrient deficiencies can also lead to specific cravings and stuff. I can't tell you all of them. You have to like look that up. But there is a thing with that. your period also impacts your hunger and your fat loss, and you need to be aware of that too. Fellas, sorry, but your hormones are pretty much the same day in, day out.
Nice.
That's why you guys are like so like
solid. Consistent.
If you don't want to eat that way, just don't do it. Like if you want to lose weight, just do it.
Sounds like advice to me. I'm just kidding, ladies. I swear to God, I'm just joking. Please don't come at me. That's just a joke.
That is just it's easier for guys. It is.
I'll agree. I'm just going. Yes, Your Honor. Best of my recollection. But all right, back to the you're feeling hungry, you're in a calorie deficit, your movement's up, your metabolism may be getting fired up too. Like you're doing
opposite.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you started this thing and you've increased your movement, all of a sudden, like, your body's expenditure is up. And so it's, there's been some changes. Your body's changing. There's stuff going on. Anyway, I'm really glad y'all were here. This was I'm glad I needed some moral support, some emotional support going through this period talk. And I'm just really good. I'm just glad I could teach Brittany a few things.
Really glad you could be here. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be sleeping on the couch.
If you need him.
If you need me, I'll be in the living room on the couch.
All right, we're gonna get this episode out so we can get it published. We hope that you find it helpful. And
I really appreciate the feedback we've gotten lately from some people that have listened to the podcast. It's been awesome,
It's been good.
I love it.
Oh, and before we go, group coaching pre-sale has gone live. I'll put a link in the episode notes for the pre-sale, but we're going to launch our group coaching program on the 30th of April. If you sign up during the pre-sale, you'll get in the app before it opens on the 30th. And then once the 30th hits, you'll have access to all of the programs that we're building out currently. Your billing cycle won't be until the 30th of May.
And you'll get locked in at a lower rate that will never increase.
Yep. We don't ever increase prices on clients that stay active. So as long as you're an active client, we keep your price the same. Even when we increase, you get grandfathered in. Our group coaching program is something we're really excited about. We've been working really hard on it. You'll have access to a library of done-for-you programs. And you'll have coach support in the group coaching community within our app. So if you want to know more about it, I'm going to put the link in there. You can click it. You can watch the video where James and I talk about it. It took us an hour to record that 5-minute video. And you can also read through it if you're not a video type person.
And this is available doesn't matter where you live. I know we have some listeners in some other countries.
Yep.
And I mean, if you have internet
we can coach you worldwide.
Yes. I would love that. And
this is open to everybody. It's not just women. We do speak to women directly. We love working with women. They're the majority of our clients. But if you're out there, you're supported too.
Yeah, we have male clients.
So hope you all have a good rest of your day. And until next time.
She's Brittany.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Macros, Mindset, and Muscles. Until next time.
I'm James.
I'm Brittany. We're out.